Hello and welcome everyone. This is your astrology forecast for full moon in Aquarius. It happens on the 1st of August and it's like an opening of the scene of August. It's like opening of the curtains of the month of August, and in August we have 2 full moons, which is unusual. It doesn't really happen very often. Even though it happens, it's not something totally unusual, but it's a bit unusual. So we have 2 full moons in August. This is the first one, which is happening at the very beginning of the month. And the second full moon is happening at the very end of the month, on the 31st of August. And it's happening in the last sign of the zodiac, in Pisces. So this is the first one, and in the middle we have the new moon in Leo. So it's very, very personal and impersonal energy. It's highly spiritual. It's really inviting us to look not only through the physical lenses, but also to apply our metaphysical lenses that we all truly have. And it's reminding us that we have some organs that are going through the process of atrophy if we don't use them. And we know this. If we don't use something, it will decay, it will rot. So if we don't use our metaphysical senses and lenses, they are going to atrophy and we won't be able to use them. So this full moon is actually putting our focus onto those higher causes, onto those metaphysical causes and those metaphysical paradigms that we have to include into this world. So we cannot only look through the physical eyes. We sometimes have to close our eyes, dive deep and open our inner eyes, use our pineal gland, use our so-called third eye to activate it, to open it, to connect with our intuition, to use our sixth sense, to see something beyond the scene, and not only going through life with that saying that what you see is what you get, because there is so much more of what we don't see. And I always put more focus on these things because this is what ancient knowledge is teaching us about. This is what our heart knowledge is teaching us about. This is what our universal knowledge and language is teaching us about. And this is full moon in Aquarius. And full moon, what is actually full moon? Is the moment when we have the sun and the moon standing facing each other. So we have the sun and the moon, and they are looking at each other. So the moon is enlightened by the sun, and it illuminates something that has been hidden. So each full moon is about revelation. It's also about culmination. It's about the disclosures. It's about releasing something. It's about seeing something coming to life. It's about manifestation. It's about endings and closures and completions. It's about something is coming to a head, or something is coming to an end, or something is coming to a fruition, or all of these is going to happen. And that is why full moons are very strong. They have this tendency to increase our emotional reactions, to make us more emotionally reactive and to make us more irrational, so to say. So the Aquarius full moon is there to reveal to us the power of objective mind, but also the power of the individual, and also the power of people, the power of community, the power of the group of awakened individuals. It is our wake-up call. So we are being summoned into this awakening. And Aquarius archetype, it reforms society for the benefit of all through the mastery of the mind. And it awakens the reality of human's true nature. So this is our invitation, and our invitation to connect with our not only spiritual side, but with our ethereal bodies that we all possess. This is, Aquarius means something that is of water. It's water bearer. And we see the symbol of Aquarius is the man pouring the water. And this is the water carrier. The glyph comes from the Egyptian hieroglyph for water. The glyph is the two waves, two parallel waves that we see, but those waves are not really water waves, even though they are related to water, but they are also radio waves and ethereal waves, waves that are unseen, waves that go beyond our physical senses. Those are infrared and ultraviolet waves too. And it shows a man pouring water from urn. So these ideas of the Aquarius as the water bearer are related very much to baptism and washing away our sins and cleansing and purification and return to youth, eternal youth. And the urn or the cup can also be seen as the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail that is known from many, many different mythologies, history stories, fairy tales, and all kinds of, folk tales as well. And these kinds of things are rooted in our subconsciousness. They are rooted in our DNA structure because these things have been transferred through many different ages, not necessarily in linear way, but in non-linear way, in spiral way, in DNA way. And this Holy Grail is something that we are all looking for. This is we are on the quest for this Holy Grail, and we are asking for that kind of baptism that has nothing to do with religious story, but it's something that is much more rooted in the wisdom of life, and not in the wisdom of some institutions or system knowledge, educational. No, this is about the knowledge that is seen and experienced. This is knowledge that we experience with our heart and with our mind. And it's not really water in that urn. And the ancients called this area of the sky the sea, because it was seen as the source of life from the primordial waters. And these waters are not waters that we know of. This is not H2O water. This is it's not just rain and that helps things grow on this planet. Lightning is very much involved, and we know that the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus and Saturn as well. These two titans are both rulers of Aquarius, and that is why Aquarius is very complex sign, and it's the lightning that can hit us like a shock. It's a shocking lightning bolt that gives us awakening. This is what Uranus' role is, to wake us through shocks, through sudden and unexpected events, through something that comes out of the blue, something we didn't expect, something we didn't see coming, something that totally puts us out of our comfort zone, something that completely changes the route of our direction, something that gets us out of our habitual life, something that removes our routines. So this lightning also seeds life by fertilizing the soil with nitrogen. Lightning is very important. Without lightning there is no rain. So we see this connection with those ethereal forces and water, and why Aquarius is the water bearer. And it's Uranus is also associated very much with electromagnetic fields and electromagnetic forces. This is happening on atomic level, and it's including those charged particles. This is about huge charging and discharging energy. So we are being charged and discharged continuously during this time. And we may feel these huge discharging energies, so we may feel drained, but then again renewed and rejuvenated. And these charged particles are known as negative ions. They are produced by moving water, like waterfalls and rivers, and we know that these are big sources of energy. We know that we can use these things like rivers and waterfalls as the sources of energy, and also thunderstorms. Thunderstorms are very powerful, so Uranus is the god of thunderstorms. So we have these big thunderstorms all around the world right now happening, and also we have big fires because we are in the Leo season. Leo is opposite from Aquarius. Sun is in Leo, Moon is in Aquarius, so we have these fires and thunderstorms happening, and they are doing the job of purging and cleansing. And of course some kind of sacrifice needs to be done, just like with Prometheus. So we are now being faced with Prometheus-like knowledge and sacrifices, and we all have this Prometheus-like archetype within ourselves that is being triggered by these energies. And negative ions have a very positive effect on life. They are energizing and purifying the body and the mind. So Aquarius pours the water of life from his urn as the cosmic life force. And Aquarius is known as the carrier of knowledge and of creative energy, as well as purification through renewal. So we have to be aware that science and technology cannot give us all answers, and this is what we are seeing right now happening in the world. This is very much affecting us all on a collective level. And of course, as always, collective and individual, it's never separate. It's always connected. We are in the web of life. It's the network. And Aquarius is very much about communities and networking and the people and social norms and societies and social issues and our friends and our friendships and our associates and acquaintances and our tribe and our soul family. And we are going to go through a lot of reassessments during this time when it comes to our friendships, our communities, our place where we belong, ourselves amongst others, who we are when we are amongst others. How do we behave when we are in a larger group of people? How do we feel with certain people? Do we feel like we are evolving, or do we feel like we are being disempowered? So it's very important to surround ourselves with people who we feel really powerful with people who inspire us, or with people who empower us, with people who truly trigger that thirst for wisdom and quest for knowledge. And we just have to understand that because Aquarius rules technology and science, and we may see some fanatic and extreme behavior when it comes to use of technology and science, and especially when it comes to expectations from technology and science. So it's also a message for us to detach a little bit from use of technology so much, and to use it for constructive things, and not to allow those things to consume us, but to see how can we consume those things in the most proper and appropriate way. Because technology and science alone will never give us what we are looking for. These things can never satisfy our soul desires our heart desires. We have Sun in Leo, and we have Venus, the planet of beauty, love, and harmony, and values, and finances, and relationships in Leo, and she is retrograde. So all these themes of Venus are amplified. And it's very hot energy because it's in Leo. And the themes of heartbreak, betrayal, expectations, love issues, all those things that we want so strongly can come to the surface now. And we may see extremes in behavior, because Aquarius can be extremely cold, for example. It can be extremely detached from everything, like it's none of my business. Or we may see this, we may witness this kind of behavior around ourselves, with our friends, with ourselves, and we may be surprised even. We may be shocked by how certain people behave, or by how we behave. We may suddenly see that we are either too passionate about something, or too detached, too cold, too uninterested. And this is, we have to be very careful, because each full moon asks for balance. And we shouldn't go, and Aquarius is a lot about extremes and fanaticism. It can easily slip into those things. And especially when we are thinking that we have achieved something, so we may, it's a slippery floor, it's a slippery area where we can easily be like taken away, because we thought that we can do something better than anyone else, or if we are overconfident, or if we overbook ourselves with things, because this full moon is making square with Jupiter in Taurus. And we have full moon in Aquarius, we have the Sun in Leo and Venus in Leo, and we have Jupiter in Taurus, and we have the ruler of this full moon, Uranus, also in Taurus. So these are all fixed signs. They are very fixed signs, and fixed signs are known as stubborn. You know, like, I'm going to use only this way, this is my way. And fixed, we can hold on to some things strongly. And we may find the solution now through the transformation of the self. This is the highest alchemical success, if we can say it like that. The highest alchemical revolution is the transformation of the self. And Aquarius is a lot about revolution. It's about being rebellious. So we may see that we are being rebellious now. We may have a need to protest against something, to be against something, to fight for something. And if we use it in a purposeful way, without going into those destructive forms where we can get hurt, or where we can see that others are being hurt, then it's good. But if we use it in extreme way, it can go in some unwanted directions. But this square with Jupiter is can actually be very helpful, because we know Jupiter is very beneficial, it's benevolent, and it can help us understand the abundance of our own being, because some of us may be shocked by how abundant we are when it comes to our way of thinking, when it comes to our way of being, our way of behaving. We may be surprised by by the amount of our own either anger or love or depression or purpose or willingness or motivation, whatever it is, but we have so much of it, but we are unaware of it. And if we were to feel all of it at once, we would probably implode and disappear. So it's impossible for us to feel it all at once. But during this time, we may feel it much strongly than we usually do. We may feel all these things that we have inside of us rising, and they are going to be amplified. So the increase in consciousness actually creates the suffering, because as we grow, we receive the greater challenges, and we become aware that we're going to die. Of course, we all know that eventually this physical body is about to decay once, but we still have to live and find meaning. So it's not like even, we know that someday we're going to die, so what's the purpose of living then? But we are given this knowledge that we are going to die someday, but still we are searching for the meaning and we still have to live. So what motivates us? Where do we find that willingness, that spark? What gives us this spark, unless it's something that comes from ethereal realms, unless it's the metaphysical that creates this physical realm? So we are actually going to see that we are divided against ourselves, and this suffering creates, it can trigger a repressive part of the psyche that tries to stop us from waking up. And it can be compared with the mythology of Saturn and Uranus, where Saturn is castrating Uranus. Saturn is the father of Uranus, and we now have actually a positive aspect between Saturn and Uranus. And for the last couple of years, we have experienced a very tough, challenging square aspect between Saturn and Uranus. It has been very tough because we have seen a lot of fight and struggle between control and freedom, between the old and new. And now these energies come into harmonious dance. They are starting to create harmonious relationship. So we are going all to feel this collectively and individually, how our perception of freedom and our ability to live responsibly are aligned. So we don't have to, in order to be free, to remove everything from our life. Because freedom is not about living life as like we want it to live, like totally freely, not caring about anything or anyone. No, being free actually means being highly responsible. And this is where we see the true connection between Saturn and Uranus, as they are both rulers of Aquarius. So we have to be highly responsible in order to be authentically and uniquely free. So this full moon triggers the theme of freedom very much. And waking up to the truth of who we are is truly great responsibility. And the more fire we steal, the more consciousness we have, like Prometheus, and the more darkness we have to face and integrate into our being. So the higher the levels, the deeper the abyss that we have to research. So this is how it goes. If we go 10 levels above, we have to go 10 levels underneath as well, so that we have a complete structure, full spectrum human experience of being alive. It doesn't mean that darkness disappears, but although some of it might, but it means that we are truly understanding reality as it is. We are accepting the suffering that we cannot change, but we also learn how to avoid the unnecessary suffering and how to stop prolonging the unnecessary suffering. So Aquarius always tries to change things, to remove the suffering, to improve life for everyone. This is the noble vision. It's utopian. This full moon is very utopian, but we also have to be aware that no matter how utopian life we can imagine, we shouldn't go into that fanatic, extreme mode of trying to manifest it, because we see through history and through our life as well that whenever we have this utopian revolutionary idea, it leads to dystopia. And what we have to do is we truly have to respect the limits of reality. We cannot be free unless we learn how to respect those limits. And Aquarius can truly awaken us to the truth of the divine self. And this happens in a flesh. It's Uranus in a flesh. It's like lightning, the awakening moment. It's like that epiphany moment, which then has to be mastered and applied in reality, which is Saturn. So, what happens like this then has to be processed, mastered, and applied. So it's not only Uranus, it's not only crazy, revolutionary, sudden, shocking energy that hits us, but it's also the hard work and efforts that we have to do afterwards to maintain that energy, to improve it, to build it, to work on it, to be devoted, to be responsible, to show that we care. This is where Saturn comes in. And this energy truly leads us to awareness that the self of one is the self of all. And this is what we are being told now through many different things, through our relationships, through our challenges, through our emotional turbulences that many of us are still going through, because we have this Pluto retrograde in Capricorn, back in Capricorn, and Pluto has been opposing new moon in Cancer that happened 2 weeks ago. So it's been very emotionally challenging, and as I said in that previous video, those emotional revolutions are just they are screaming from the inside, asking for us to take that responsibility for who we are. And we are now going to understand that sometimes we truly have to do things for free, but not to the extent of becoming a slave to someone, but being free in what we are doing, being free and therefore choosing to do things for free, because we are free. So because we are free, we have ability to do things that are selfless, to do things for others that are completely selfless, not because we owe something to others, not because we want to be good in eyes of others, not because we want to be good in eyes of our higher selves, but just because we do it, because we can do it, because we are free to do it. And this would be the highest expression of this energy. And I hope that all of this can actually inspire us to go into that direction. And these sudden awakenings and insights can revolutionize our perspective and turn our life upside down pretty much. It's pushing us towards liberation and individuation. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury, so it represents the universal mind. And during this time we have Saturn, ancient ruler of Aquarius, in opposition with Mercury. Mercury is in Virgo in its own sign, and Saturn is in Pisces. There is an opposition between Saturn and Mercury, so we may experience some kind of censorship when it comes to our verbal expression. We may not be totally free to express ourselves, to say what we truly mean, or we may feel that we are blocked by someone else. But this is where the trigger of our authenticity and uniqueness comes into play, because we may feel provoked to step outside of our comfort zone and to do something that is truly revolutionizing for ourselves. It can be a personal revolution where we are completely surprised, and everyone around us completely surprised by how we react, by what we do, what we say, how we do it and how we say it, how we react. So it can be truly rebellious and revolutionizing, but as long as it comes from the heart, Sun in Leo, Venus in Leo, we are definitely supported. But if it comes from that egocentric place where we want to prove ourselves, to show who we are, to defeat others, to arm someone, we will feel it definitely. So we truly have to see, is it coming from the heart? This is also a very healing energy. It's a heart healing energy. And this energy connects us with that impersonal consciousness of the cosmos. And Aquarius and Leo, Leo is very personal, while Aquarius is transpersonal. So this is about the transition from personal into transpersonal, from subjective into the objective. And we are learning how to work harmoniously between those two oppositions. This acts like a cosmic alarm clock, and it is continuously recalling us, and it's forcing radical revolutions, inner and outer, and these fast insights that are happening can be both constructive and destructive. This is about the liberation and chaos, innovation and disruption. And we are going through this kind of breakthrough where we are going to finally have an opportunity to get out of limitations that have been putting us down our whole life. It's like we finally have a permission from ourselves to say no. Like, no, I won't do it. No, I won't go into that direction. No, that's not good for me. No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to tolerate that anymore. So we are going to see what have we been tolerating for too long, and where have we somehow destroyed ourselves, where have we been self-destructive. But again, this energy can lead us into destructive behavior towards others because of that. So let's be aware of this. Let's not allow ourselves to go into that extreme, because it's easy. This scenario can easily happen. Like, okay, I've been tolerating this for so long. I have been suffering for so long because of this, and now I'm going to show you how it is. Now I'm saying no, back off, and you are going to see who I am. So let's give our best to wake up to our spiritual nature, to that subtle, ethereal energy that teaches us how to be humble in our wisdom, in our knowledge, in our acknowledgements, how to accept these things without becoming violent, without becoming destructive, without becoming aggressive, or without going into extremes with becoming self-destructive, or becoming maybe too tolerant, another extreme for those who haven't been so much. There are always two sides of these extremes, always. And this is the matrix that we live in. We live in the world of duality, and we are somehow always bouncing between these dualities. We are on the pendulum, like we are either here or here. And the task for us, the lesson right now, is the biggest lesson of this full moon in Aquarius would be not to take things too personally, because actually nothing is really personal. Nothing, even though it may seem like that to us from our perspective. Nothing is personal. Nothing ever that ever has been told to us or done to us has been personal. It's just the combination of what has happened to that person, and then it's somehow aligned with what we have been through, and it happens as a symbiosis that results in that kind of thing that is then a lesson for us. But it's not personal. Nothing is personal, and we have to understand this. And we should, search for the guidance within ourselves and not allow our lower expressions to lead us. So when we don't know what to do, it's much better not to do anything, but to remain silent, to look for the inner voice that will tell us. And this inner voice can truly be loud now, because we have this Saturn-Mercury opposition, and Mercury can transfer this message through Saturn in Pisces, and it can reach us through our dreams, or through synchronicities, or through some other intangible way that is not so direct. So we are not going to receive some direct material, physical, concrete message, but rather more energetic, toroidal, metaphysical message. And this is revolutionary change, and this revolutionary change can be awakened through hard work. But this hard work doesn't necessarily have to be physical hard work or hard work that we've been doing for years. This hard work can be not only our inner work, not only our spiritual work. All these labels, all these words and labels and separations are limiting our ways of expressing ourselves. So this has to do with our whole work, with the work that we have done since we are born. What have we done until now? So we may all reflect on our life during this time and see if we are satisfied with what we have done and how far we've come since the moment we were born, since the moment that we can remember of. What are our first memories, and what are our most authentic memories of life from that moment until now, and what these memories tell us about ourselves, and how we feel about those memories, and how we have transformed through our life. Where do we see our growth, and where do we see our failures? And we are going to be given a lot of reasons to wake up, because we are going to see that maybe we have lived our life in a very limiting and imprisoning way. Aquarius is a lot about people, as I said. It's about social norms, and we may have a need to protest against certain social norms. So it's much better to be for something rather than against something. So this full moon reminds us what we are for. Are we for awakening? Are we for constructive things? Are we for improvements? Or are we against certain things that we don't like that are happening in the world? So as long as we are against those things, we are giving our power away to those things. As long as we are fighting against something, those things perpetuate and continue to exist and continue to take away, to feed on us, because we are against them. So let's focus on things that we are for, pro-life, but not denying these things, of course, but not being against them, not putting our blame onto those things alone. And of course, we need to learn how to handle the fire of consciousness. And this is something that we are truly learning now. Uranus is the great awakener, the one who pushes us over the edge and just says, fly, just like, off you go. Now learn on your own. And we may feel like this now as well. We may feel like we have been thrown away, pushed away, and just, there you are. Find your own way, just fly. Find your uniqueness, find your authenticity. Don't copy others. Don't try to be like others. Don't compare yourself to others. This is also something that creates a lot of suffering. When we are authentically ourselves, then we radiate and emanate our true inner light. And this is when we are truly confident to show who we are. But when we are copying others, when we are trying to be like someone else, when we are trying to receive approvals from others, when we are trying to get those honors from others and the applause, then of course we won't be so confident. We will always have self-worth issues. We will always have this inferiority complex, or the opposite complex, self-grandeur complex. They are both the same. Again, they are rooted in the same trauma. And Uranus and Aquarius, which is not very well known, they are related very much to trauma. And this full moon can reveal some of those traumas very much. So we are asked to handle that fire of consciousness, to see how to navigate through life with our own heart desires and with our original selves, not copies. We are not clones. We are real human beings. Each of us is unique. This is the power of discernment, diversity. The Aquarius and this age of Aquarius that we are right now on the brink. We are between the age of Pisces and the age of Aquarius. We are crossing the bridge, and it's very surreal and sublime, this experience. We are crossing the bridge between two ages, and the age of Aquarius asks for diversity and uniqueness. This is not, we have to understand that the phrase "we are all one" has been misinterpreted in many ways, and when it's taken out of the context, it can be very dangerous actually, because this age of Aquarius, which is not, we see this new age wave, so to say, new age wave that I call new cage, and it's just another matrix within a matrix. But the true awakening, the true crossing of the bridge demands our unique awakening, our unique selves, our original selves, our waking up to who we truly are, to our true purpose. So when we are asked, what do we want? Do we have an answer? And what is our answer to that? What do you really want? What if the divine power spoke to each of us and asked us, what do you truly want? How many of us would know? Very few. Or maybe we would say that we want some things that others want or that others have. But what is truly in our heart? What is giving us a fuel for living life? What is motivating us? What is giving us purpose? Those kinds of things make us original human beings, and not some copies, not some clones, not some, repeating machines that only imitate others, because it turns out that we are all imitating each other. We are just copying, copy-paste, copy-paste. What do we do? Do we truly live a life? We have to create. We have to create, not copy-paste. But many people are becoming too lazy for creating. It's like, why would I do it if I can only just, see how it's done and just replicate it? But we have to be creators. We are here to wake up to who we truly are, and to understand that we are a thought. We are a thought, a dream in the mind of God, trying to wake up and remember who we are. So we are understanding this now, and our unique individual mind is plugged directly into the universal mind, and we have responsibility to use it in the proper way. We have a responsibility to use it in the creative way, and our quest for divine knowledge can bring us closer to the gods, so to say. But there is a price to pay, and this price to pay is to experience and face all those things that we are suppressing, repressing, denying, that we are blaming on others, that we are judging, that we are criticizing, that we are complaining about. There are so many things that we are doing in this way, and then we ask ourselves, but why can't we achieve the life that we want to achieve? Because we are not original. So let's be original selves. Like Prometheus, we need to have humility and respect the limits of reality. And waking up is just the beginning. It's not the end of the story. Waking up, enlightenment happens in the flesh, as I said, Uranus, and then has to be mastered. True freedom requires responsibility and self-discipline that is grounded in reality, Saturn. So we need both of these titans to collaborate and work together, and we need both of sides within ourselves to collaborate and work together. And the question is, what will we do with that power and freedom? What would we do with our freedom? And there are many, many wake-up calls. And there is something that is very important to say now, and this is about our unique manifestation of that universal mind, and that unique expression initiates us into this knowledge through our traumas. Actually, our trauma is an entrance. It is our ticket into this life, into this incarnation, into this realm. Without trauma, we wouldn't have a ticket for entering here. So instead of running away and pushing those karmas, those traumas away, we should honor them and use that ticket constructively. Use it to transcend it, because this trauma is our entrance, and it's very important to work on using it in a different way when we are exiting. We shouldn't live with the same trauma, but this is something that we are doing repeatedly from life to life. We enter with one trauma and we exit with the same trauma. So we didn't do the task that we had. We didn't fulfill that task. And what we have to do now is to become aware that this trauma needs to be transformed. So we have to come out with this trauma being transformed into light, because this trauma is in the form of sticky, dark, watery, muddy structure within ourselves, and we stick to those things. We get stuck because those things just get stuck with us. So we are stuck into those traumas, and we have to learn how to walk with them, not to walk away from them, but how to walk with them, how to walk through them, how to allow them to walk through us as well. Because this trauma, as I said, is our ticket, it's our entrance. So let's use this in order to understand, to learn, to grow, to transform and alchemize our bodies, our structures, our minds, and not to just skip it, skip it, skip it, skip it, delay it, delay it, delay it, and then come to the end of this journey, and what did we do? We did nothing. Next, please. Like, I will take the next journey again, I will try again. Game over, next level. And this is how it is, because actually those video games are a great analogy to our life and this whole structure of living and our different lifetimes and timelines as well. And this full moon can truly trigger some paradoxical thoughts and feelings, but Aquarius is about paradoxes, and we are learning that these paradoxes have the power to take us directly to the fire of knowledge. Because when we understand that paradoxes are not standing against each other, but they are valid at the same time, then we can transcend the dual mind. Then we can understand and overgrow that duality that we are continuously bouncing, back and forth, back, left and right, and back and forth. So there is truly no separation. But being different doesn't have to mean being separate. And somehow this Aquarian paradigm of new age has been transferred in some very tricky way that teaches us that we are all one and we are all the same, but we are not all the same. The power is in us being all diverse, and that is what is same for all of us, that we are all unique. I am unique, you are unique, he is unique, she is unique. Each flower is unique, each plant is unique, each tree and branch and leaf is unique. Everything is unique. And this is what makes it beautiful. This is what makes the nature beautiful, because of that diversity. And we don't see fights and wars in nature. We don't see trees trying to dominate flowers or grass or stones. We don't see anything trying to dominate. But it's just working in that symbiosis. And this is from where we can learn. Universe reveals itself to us now. And if we are open-hearted and open-hearted through Sun in Leo and Venus retrograde in Leo, and open-minded through this full moon in Aquarius, if we are warm-hearted and cool-headed, warm heart, Sun in Leo and Venus in Leo, and cool-headed with moon in Aquarius, we can truly hear the language of the universe now. And we can understand it, not through our logical conclusions, but through our intuition and common sense. And to see that reality is consciousness. And there is a play that is happening, a play of Maya. Maya, known as the illusion of what we see, the dream of this life, which doesn't mean that this reality is not real. It only means that it's not what it appears to be. So many things are not as they appear to be to us, especially now. Especially the illusion that we are separate from reality, because we are never separate from reality. We are never separate from anything. And these internal alarms are truly increasing now. And when we are constantly reacting to situations instead of being proactive, it is easy to feel ourselves as victims of an unfriendly universe. But when we participate, the universe sends us good surprises, and we may see some pretty shocking positive surprises that we didn't expect coming and that are probably wanted, like, wow, I cannot believe this is happening, or like, wow, I couldn't see this coming, it's so much better than I could have imagined. But this is happening when we are not trying to control the outcomes of what we do, and when we are not so much focused on the results of what we are doing, because we are mainly focused on the results instead of being focused on that very thing that we are doing. When we are in some kind of work, we should be in that kind of work instead of just thinking about the ending process. So what does that mean? We are constantly in that place that hasn't happened yet, and we cannot really even feel the moment that when we are creating something that we want to create. We only think about the outcome. So it's very important to be able to feel ourselves in the moment when we are really doing the work. And we may have a strong urge to break out of our normal routines. So it's a very good moment to break free from something that has been too restrictive, because we have all the support that we need to do it now. To break free from anything that is no longer serving us, to break free from anything or anyone that has been torturing or suffocating us in any way, and including ourselves, of course. Many of us may see how we have been destroying ourselves by certain thought patterns, emotional patterns, by our need to blame, to criticize, to judge, to search for attention, to do things in order to receive approval, to do things for many kinds of reasons, to do anything but to work on being our unique selves, to waking up to be who we truly are. But of course this can be scary. It can be scary to be who we truly are amongst others, especially. You know, we are trying to fit into some kind of puzzle, but we are not born to fit into some kind of puzzle. We are born to be unique individuals and to create our own picture. And then by creating our own picture, each of us, we create the most beautiful big picture that can exist. But when we are trying to fit in, then what did we create? We create the flat surface of nothingness. There is nothing original there, nothing unique, everything is just the same. So we have to bring our own authenticity and uniqueness, and we may truly feel like we are creating this puzzle, our own unique puzzle right now, without having any clue of what this picture is. So we are creating this puzzle with the pieces, but we don't have that picture by which we are connecting the dots. And this is the excitement of the journey of this life. This is what makes it exciting. And I just want for the end of this video to read a couple of sentences from the book The Age of Aquarius, because I think they are very important for understanding these energies that are happening now. And it says that the age of Aquarius is the age of diversity. Diversity is the key. Diversity and uniqueness bring us together. Without diversity, we have a twisted understanding of unity and the principles of we are all one. We are all one only through diversity. Multiple diversities came out of oneness, and those diversities make oneness. The point is not to be like anyone. The key is in accomplishing individuality originality and uniqueness, which will be tough for many, especially for those who have fallen into a comfort zone of expecting external authorities to solve problems for them, expecting the system to take responsibility and blaming that same system and authorities for personal failures. The split leads to unity. In the myth of Uranus and Gaia, Uranus and Earth, there was a separation from union. Now we go through a reverse process. We go from separation into union, from diffusion into fusion, quantum physics. They have found the way to create diffusion, but they haven't discovered the secret behind fusion. This cannot be done through materialistic lens. We have to start digging deeper and higher. We have to start looking through a metaphysical lens as well. The sword of wisdom pierces us right from above, through our head and into our hearts. Our head Uranus and our hearts Leo. The stationary wave of pure light, the waterfall of knowledge floods us and washes us away. Aquarius, the water bearer, pours out wisdom down on us. We don't fill the void by external images. Maybe we don't even need to fill the void. We need to accept it and work with it and gain wisdom from it. Void is in us, and void is in the universe. As above, so below. Micro and macro realities are reflections of each other. Void is not there to hurt us and keep us in pain. Void is there to set us free. Void is our portal. The path of the warrior is to go directly into the fire of purification, to go directly in death, and to transform and transmute lower into higher. We enter the void, we enter the womb, we enter the black hole, which is our exit, our portal, our gateway. We are getting new identities. The prophet corresponds with time and air, Saturn and Uranus, Aquarius. The prophet is mystical, unknown, the most intriguing of them, the most subtle. The prophet knows the past, the present, and the future. The prophet knows the time. And I invite you all to read this book, The Age of Aquarius. You can find it on our Moon Omens website, and you can find some other very significant books that can help you trigger some of these awakenings, that can trigger that thirst for being original human being. And I invite you all to wake up those inner warriors, inner creators, and inner prophets that will lead us all into that unique image that will help us create the unique, bigger image of this creation. So let's create instead of copying others. Let's be creators and not clones. I love you all and see you in 2 weeks. Bye bye.